Welcome back to another episode of the Late Night Show with Dr. Kojo. I am your host, Kojo, and I'm checking in from not so sunny Los Angeles, California. It was a medium sunny day today. And we have a very different type of topic tonight. We're going to be talking about a question that I've received on a couple occasions in the DMs. So I was like, why not? Let's go ahead and let's discuss it. So I'm interested in getting into this topic. I can't wait to get into it. But before I start, you all already know what I'm going to ask you. I'm going to ask you to let me know where you're checking in from, and then let's go ahead and get it. So as y'all know, checking in live from California, LA. Let's get it. Let's get it. Let's get it. Let's get it. Somebody, the very first comment, somebody said, "No, man and women cannot be friends." He didn't even let me know his location. He's like, "I'm not letting my girl have guy friends." I'm kidding, Fred. What's going on? We have people checking in from. Let's see where people are checking in from. We got people from Boston. Ainsley, what's up? We got South Carolina. Chase, what's up? My boy Chase from Arizona, what's up? My boyfriend doesn't let me talk to any guys. All right, Michelle. Well, Michelle, we're gonna talk about this. We're gonna talk about it. No, men and women can't be friends after sexual relations. So whoever this person is like you're reading my mind and you're talking about the things I'm gonna talk about later. So stop reading my mind. I'm gonna get there soon. Julie's checking in from San Diego, Alabama in the house. Someone says depends if it's sister. That's funny. Dallas, Texas, Pittsburgh. Lithonia, Georgia. Okay. Off of I-20. Seattle. You tell us. I'm about to tell you what I think. Colorado Springs, Texas, Texarkana, around that Arkansas-Texas border. Lafayette, Louisiana, Florida, Winston-Salem, Toronto, Longview, Fort Bragg, North Carolina, Salt Lake City, Utah, Washington, Phoenix, Illinois. Okay, so we have people checking in from everywhere around the U.S. And, of course, I saw somebody from Saskatchewan. So we got people from Canada in the house. And, of course, my hometown folks from Augusta, Georgia. All right, guys, let's talk about it. I have received this question a couple of times in the DMs. Can men and women be friends? And, it's funny because when you say friends, I hate to be a person who's like, they ask you a yes or no question and I start to like get more, in depth. And I'm like, oh, when you say friends, what do you mean? Or blah, But when you say friends, friends is it's an umbrella term, right? Like we all have friends that that come to our house on Thanksgiving, and they know our family members and they know intimate parts of our lives, right? And then we have friends who they're like coworkers, but you never really tell them like your personal business, right? So there's levels to this, right? So when you say can men and women be friends, I say, of course, sure, men and women can be friends, but the type of friendship, and this is I'm speaking within like a heteronormative world, right? Just to keep things simple. But as I learn more about the LGBTQ community, I will also have that discussion too one day. But if we're just saying, can men and women be friends? I say, of course. But what type of friendship do you have, right? Depending on the friendship, I would be like, we might want to reconsider a couple of things because we have to be smart here, right? We can't be naive when we're talking about friendship. So I think that men and women can be friends, but the type of friendship does matter, right? So somebody was saying that my boyfriend won't let me talk to any guys, and I've seen that type of thing before, and more than likely, the boyfriend will probably say, "I don't want you talking to guys is because I trust you, but I don't trust other guys, right?" And I'm saying that because I've said that line before in past relationships, and when like how guys operate, that this could be how guys operate, right? But it doesn't mean that this is every guy, right? So I don't want to say that this is for everybody, right? But you can have friends of the opposite sex, and they can be lifelong friends, and you could never have any type of emotional type of connection to where you want to be physical with them. This can happen, right? But I would argue that this is probably the minority, because something happens when you spend a lot of time with people. You start to enjoy the company more. And as we know, if boundaries are not in place all the way, before you know it, you and that person, you know, you get into it. Not saying you don't have self control, but before you know it, you them, y'all doing the makey ficky. Who knows what can happen? I'm not saying that this is what will happen to you, but I'm saying that if you're gonna choose to be friends with somebody of the opposite sex, you really have. This is the time that you make sure that you've watched enough of Dr. K videos, right? Make sure you've really, figured out how boundaries work for you. So this is really a question of boundaries. That's what this is a question about. This is a question of boundaries. Catherine says if they aren't attracted to each other, yes. But Catherine, I'm sure we can ask people in the chat. I'm sure that there were people who have not been attracted to somebody and you spend a lot of time with them, and before you know it, with every passing second, you're like, hey, I think she's kind of cute, and vice versa, Not to say that that will happen, but these things could happen. You're gonna put some weird vapor. Yeah, I just cut it on today to see how it works. If we like it, we can keep it. If we hate it, we can take it off. Or maybe let's put to the side like this. Yeah, yeah, I like that. I like that. What about friendship after intimacy? So, Kimberly, all right, let's talk about this for a second, right? I'm assuming you're saying, being friends after one of after. So, I'm gonna take this question from the angle of trying to provide the most value for people, right? So, Kimberly's saying, what if these people had been intimate before, right? I'm assuming, right? So, Kimberly gets a new boyfriend, right? And Kimberly's hanging out with Joe, right? Joe from down the street, who she's known since seventh grade. Kimberly dated Joe for what, 2 weeks, senior year, and then they did their thing, and now Kimberly's new boyfriend is worried about like Kimberly hanging out with Joe. I think, and I've seen. Here's the interesting thing. I've seen couples, tell their significant other, "Hey, this is my friend of the opposite sex, so and so. Yes, we've done something before in the past, but we're friends." And I've seen that be okay, but for the most part, I've seen that not be okay, right? So it's about communication. And I think if you are able to talk to that person freely with your partner there, then that's kind of like a way to gauge, like, is this a friendship that can, is this sustainable friendship, right? Ainsley says you gotta be honest with each other, 100% transparency. I completely agree. But what people don't know how they feel about certain thing, right? Like we never know, And I know Steve Harvey said that he cannot be friends with a woman. And I looked in the comment section, right? And people were saying, "Oh, Steve Harvey has no self control," blah blah. But I understood what he was trying to say there. I think he was trying to say that for the most part, if he's friends with an attractive woman and they spend a lot of time together, it's gonna turn into something, right? And it can turn into like a relationship. But I see the angle that he was coming from, and I don't think that's a bad thing. I'd rather you be self-aware than to set yourself up for a situation that would not be good, right? Very broad perspective. You have to, Marquise, you have to. And Chris says, I would honestly say it depends on whether or not the man and woman are mature enough to actually be friends. All right, so when you say mature enough, right? You can be mature and feelings can still come in. So how do you account for that, Chris? How's that work? I'm curious. Like, I'm not saying you're wrong or right. I'm curious. I would want to know what you have to say. Jesse says they can, we can. It's not like every guy and girl catch feelings for each other. You put the there. Right. But you have to know yourself. Like, how are you if you're with so and so? Like, how is your mental health affected by this? How have your past friendships with the opposite sex have they have been? These are things that you have to be mindful of. It says, my best friend Gloria. First of all, I want to say sorry to hear about his passing. I'm very sorry that you lost your friend. But yeah, he could sometimes this friend becomes a mutual friend for the whole couple, right? Platonic friends is possible even without attraction. I agree. Lady Gemini, I agree. And you can have two people of the opposite sex and they could both be like attracted by, whatever standards we go by nowadays. But if they're not attracted to each other, sometimes they may not you may not have an issue, right? And attraction is so subjective, right? One person that looks great to me could be like, and vice versa. So attraction is very, very subjective, you know. Um, some say I'm friends with several exes, and if someone wants a relationship, they gotta understand our kids hang. So Dave, if there's kids involved and you're co-parenting with like an ex, I get that. Now in that situation, like you have to communicate with your ex. I get that. I was more so talking about, let's take the kids out to make it simple. But Dave, I definitely do agree with you here. Um, if you want friends with benefit deal, Deborah, I'm not sure what context you were talking about, but if both people wanted that and like y'all want a relationship and like that's what y'all were doing, then I don't see what the issue is. Um, just keep about the vapor. Oh no, we were gonna keep the vapor anyway. I was just trying to see how to position it. I can see your point about the way attraction growing over time makes sense. Catherine, yes. So I want everybody to think. And actually, let's play this game real quick. I want you all to be honest with me, please. The 250 some people who are watching. Have you ever been friends with somebody of the opposite sex, or have you ever been friends with somebody of the sex that you're attracted to, right? And over time, you developed feelings for them. Just putting that question out there. You all let me know. Sound off in the comments. I want to know. Uh, Jessica, hey, Jessica from Michigan, what's up? As long as I know her, I have no problem with my man having female friends. Respect, and that's a boundary that you put up. So I get that. Um, I believe it's possible for men and women to be friends sometimes. Right, right. Let me see. Uh, Corpus Christi, what's up? What's up? It seems as if it seems to me there's always one or the other that's attracted. Right, yeah. Uh, I've seen that a lot too. I see his angle. I see his angle, but self control is a big part. He's keeping right in terms of Steve Harvey, right? If you've had issues in the past, let's say you have female friends who are your co-hosts or whatever. If you're having issues with boundaries, I would rather the person take himself out of that situation than to tempt themselves, right? You can't fault somebody for knowing what their limit is and abiding by that, right? So that's why I didn't have an issue with what Steve Harvey said. All right, so people are saying that the question was, have you ever found yourself developing feelings for somebody who was of the sex that you were attracted to? And people are saying, yeah, yes, yep, yes, for sure. I think acquaintances is fine. Yes. Okay, right. So this is a very normal thing. And I think you can be, oh, Sydney, for sure. Yeah, for sure. But it depends if you're in a relationship with somebody, or let me just take myself, for example, right? Let's say I'm married, right? And I'm sitting here in my place in LA, and the guys are trying to come through, right? All the guys are coming through. My wife probably would be like, oh, whatever, cool, cool, cool. But if you're, if my best friend Scarlett Johansson's coming over at 2 a.m. just to hang out, would my wife be okay with that? Right. So that's the kind of thing I'm trying to get at. It's really a question of boundaries. It's really a question of boundaries. How do you become friends with a guy without them hitting on you? I'm an introvert in general, and you want more friends. I may need to go out. So, Tanea, that's a good question right here. That's a good question. And I think this could be very difficult, right? Especially if anytime, let's say, anytime a guy's been nice to you, you always like did some analysis and you realize that it was because he was attracted to you, right? It could be frustrating to realize that, dang, if it wasn't because of how I look, I wouldn't have any friends, right? But I think this is where, if you're good with boundaries, you can check, whoever at the front door and say, hey, or if you're friends with somebody and you see their hand kind of go a little loose, or they say, hey, like, I'm not on that type of time. Let's keep it platonic. So you may just have to enforce boundaries a little harder, unfortunately. Mickey Ficky. So Mickey Ficky a week. Major boundaries. All right, right. Like I said, this is a question of boundaries. Let me see. Never once a girl becomes a friend, she's looked at it like a family member. Okay, respect. Um, and Donna says some men, I don't think it's respectful to the girlfriend or the wife if he wants to be friends outside of the relationship without including significant other. Shady ish. Couples need to have friends that are friends of both. When I say some men, my ex had a lot of female friends, just in case it didn't work out, he had to go to. I guess that's some shady shit. Once again, like when you get with somebody, this is when you talk about these things. You say, hey, is this okay? Is that okay? Like, how do you feel about these things? So that way you don't end up in a situation with somebody who you're not on the same page with them. But I definitely see that you feel a way about this, Donna, and much respect to you. Hopefully, this is not something that like affects you currently. Uh, if you have a history of being a cheater, I'm gonna have an issue with new friends of the opposite. Oh, okay, but are you gonna continue to hold somebody, to their past? I'm just playing devil's advocate here, but I'm just playing devil's advocate. I'm just playing. I'm gonna repeat this. How is it that lesbians can control themselves around me, but we don't expect men to? So, Kimberly, very respectfully, I okay. Respectfully, I don't think you can compare the two, right? Um, the desires of like a right heterosexual man versus the desires of a lesbian, right? Sometimes they line up, sometimes they don't, right? But it might be like apples and oranges, right? Like they both like women, right? But like attraction is like a wide spectrum, so it's hard to compare, you know, the two to each other. But I will say that I mean, as human beings, we should all have control over ourselves, right? That's I think this is a human being thing, right? But like I know, a lot of times you see those videos of men cat calling this, that, and the third, right? But still, I think it's a self control thing. Regardless of however we identify, we still need to be able to control ourselves. Control what we say, control how we act around people, control our hands. We don't put our hands on anybody. We don't, call people out of their names. So I think we should just be doing that in general, right? We treat people with respect. Um, I don't think I answered your question, Kimberly, but I try to give an insight into that. Um, you know, and let me see. If you can, oh, Kimberly, that's back to back comments of yours that I clicked, and I'm gonna have to give you a love of the show right here because I agree. If you cannot trust your partner, your relationship is already over. Uh, I agree with that, but I will throw this in there, because sometimes you might not trust your partner, and then people learn, about self care, awareness, mental health, and they go find professional help, and they build that trust up once again. And then once you have trust, then you can proceed. But if you can't trust your partner and no efforts are made to try and learn how to trust your partner, it's kind of the beginning of the end. So I will give you a love of the show for that. I'll give you that. I'll give you that. Michelle says, I do not ever develop feelings for men in relationships. When I know they have a girlfriend or have dated any of my friends, I automatically see them as a Ken doll below the waist. So, Michelle, look, I respect that. I respect that. And I'm not saying that you're wrong, okay? But I'm saying that you may not have been in a position where you look like if we're gonna have this discussion, you need to be vulnerable and like honest, right? And I'm not saying that this is a Michelle thing, right? But I'm just on your comment, right? So if you remember a couple of weeks ago, we had a live where we talked about mental health and embarrassing intrusive thoughts, right? Michelle, imagine that you're with your best friend, right? Or maybe your sister, right? And your sister's husband or boyfriend is there, and you are having intrusive thoughts about him, right? And then you feel bad. You're telling yourself, "Oh my, am I a bad person? Am I a bad sister? Why am I having these weird like thoughts about my sister's husband on this level? I should not be having these thoughts, right?" And your self esteem starts to like suffer because you're like, "I'm not attracted to this person, but why am I thinking I'm attracted to them, right?" So I'm not saying that this is you, and of course, Michelle, you hop on my live stream all the time, so I'm just using this as an example, right? I'm just using this as an example. Get back to the homie in a second. People never call unless I'm alive. But I'm just using you as an example, Michelle. So just keep that in mind, right? Sometimes like with mental health, so much could happen, right? But so that's why when I say things, I always think about all kinds of different possibilities. But Michelle, thank you in advance for letting me use you as an example because I wouldn't try to single you out there, right? Y'all making Cody uncomfy. Catherine, I'm not uncomfortable at all. Let's have this conversation. I'm not uncomfortable at all. I just, I have a filter in my mind, especially when I'm going live, right? Knowing that everybody watches, well, not everybody, but a lot of people watch these lives, right? Maybe anywhere from 5 to 15,000 people watch it after the fact. Facebook, they've watched some of my lives. So I always want to make sure that I'm respectful, but nah, I don't duck. Like I like these. Anytime you feel like I might be getting uncomfortable, it's probably like some excitement. I like it. I like it. I love it. Bring on the smoke. I love it. Nope. I let them know I'm crazy. We it's all about healthy boundaries, setting those up front and stating to them, Rochelle, I agree. And once again, this is the part that I want to put in there. You have the healthy boundaries, but look, humans are humans, right? And if you catch yourself like liking somebody or having a truth of the or questioning you like, do I like her or do I like him or whatever the case may be, if you catch yourself doing that, sometimes that might be a good time to maybe, well, I'm not telling you what to do, right? But it's like that's when it could be, like a thing to tell that person, like, hey, I know we're just friends, but I'm, blah blah blah. But I'm thinking that I'm confused right now, but I need some space from you, because you can't account for what's going to happen. Maybe you will kind of like them, right? But I think it's when these feelings happen, people don't lean into it, right? And that's why we're having this discussion because you realize that you like somebody, right? Or maybe you realize that you like somebody that you shouldn't like. That's a whole other conversation, right? And talk about thrill-seeking behavior. You like somebody that you shouldn't like. Sometimes it's like if you have to sneak to be around with them, then you have like an extra, sense of thrill. But figuring out what you can and can't do and what you want to and I don't want to do is very helpful, right? So I would definitely say that. Respect. I say respect a lot. You respect me. Yeah, but deep conversation. Yeah, this is deep. But I like these deep conversations. I like these deep conversations. I love them. My husband and I have a clear understanding of not being alone with the other sex. We both have had situations in our separate past where we've cheated previously. We are a very happily married couple. So, Amy, let me go ahead and give you a love of the show because it's not easy to be vulnerable. And, like I'm nearing 500,000 followers on Facebook and we're getting bigger by the day. So, to put this out, I want to give you a love of the show and then I'll share my thoughts. So I like the vulnerability, and I like so not being alone with the other sex. That's a good rule, right? And maybe other couples may want to do this, or they may not want to do it. But this is a good way to enforce boundaries, right? Just say, hey, let's not be with the other sex. Now, if it's like your little brother, right? Okay, we get it. But for the most part, don't be with the other sex alone, and that way can't be any problems, right? Even like at work. I remember when I was at work back in Virginia. Of course, sometimes like I'll be in the office with somebody, the door might be closed, depending on if we're talking about a patient or something like that. But I always felt comfortable with the door a little cracked, just cause I don't know, maybe I'm a little paranoid, but just having those boundaries in place, Amy, I think that can be very, very helpful. So I love that. I love everything about that comment. I love it. Yeah, don't put yourself in that position. Yeah, don't put yourself in the position, especially if you know yourself, right? There's nothing wrong with how people operate, right? So you have people who are like, I can be friends with anybody, and then you have the Steve Harveys who say, I will not be friends with any attractive woman of the opposite sex, and you respect it because people have their issues going on. People know what's up, and people know how to take care of themselves. Or I would like to know. I would like to be able to feel good thinking to myself that people know how to take care of themselves. We love deep conversations. I love it, Catherine. I love it. I'm here for it. My best friend is a guy. So this is two different Catherines, but respect. Um, Thrill seekers, yeah. Maybe it's a summer fling, right? Summer's coming. Uh, I have friends of the opposite sex whom I've known for decades. When I meet their new girlfriend or spouse, I make it clear we're platonic. I'm going to cheer on their relationship and I offer friendship. I send friend requests on social media and provide my phone number. I believe men and women can be friends without sexual attraction. Integrity does exist. Brenda, I agree. I agree with everything that you said. At the same time, I also agree with the fact that there's other things that could go on that don't allow the story to be as linear as we say it is. When uh, and we got the vapor go tonight. And we got the vapor go tonight. Everyone was coming on my mind. Actually, let me see. What little bro need? You good? Oh shoot. Oh, okay. I had sent a gift to a friend and it came in. That's what's up. I'm excited for that phone call. I'm excited for that phone call. Emily, I can tell I'm gonna like this comment. I never had a male friend that didn't want to date me. But I do believe in having male acquaintances. I just don't think it's possible to develop a healthy relationship without desiring the other person. Respect. And I've had a lot of patients, female patients and women who have told me that they've never really had like a male friend that did not want to date them. And I can't relate to that, as a man. So I do know that the dynamics are different. So you have to respect, where people come from. I'm in an open relationship. I often run into the issue of girlfriends and my male friends feeling insecure with my situation. How would you suggest I address that with women dating my close male friends? Let me get this right, Alana. I'm in an open relationship. Together 14 years happy. I often run into the issue of girlfriends of my male friends feeling insecure with my situation. How would you suggest I address that with women dating my close male friends? So once again, the short answer is I don't know. I don't know. But the most linear path you could take to have a conversation with the parties that you're closest to could be helpful, right? And with an open relationship, just like we've talked about polyamory a couple of times on this channel, and it's a really cool conversation. I want to keep that conversation moving forward. I want to learn more, but I'm not familiar with all the dynamics of how, and even deeper than that, how like your relationship is. But I mean, if you're uncomfortable with anything, I do think it's important to speak up for yourself, right? That's a way of standing up for yourself, and just speaking your piece, finding a respectful way to say what you're not comfortable about. So that's what I would say to that. That's what I would say to that. Really, really good question. Is monogamy actually healthy? Ashley, great question. Is monogamy actually healthy? I mean, that question depends on whoever's reading this, right? I do think that you can have a monogamous relationship that can be beautiful and very healthy, and nothing wrong with it at all, right? And some people, based off of what I know, this may never work for them, right? So I think this kind of boils down to you and what your goals are. Like, what do you want to achieve, right? What are your religious preferences? How do you view the world? Um, so based off of how you would answer those questions is how you would answer this question right here. You know, is there a humidifier? Yeah, it's a humidifier in the backdrop. Switching it up today. I want to go back and look at the playback and see how it looks. Um, a male friend that okay, let me see. Uh, oh, Mickey Ficky. We're gonna have to have this discussion one day because um, divorce, like just divorce by itself, there's a lot of mental health, you know, consequences or there's a mental health like fallout to divorce itself. It can affect the man. It can affect both parties. Even it affects the kids as well. We'll definitely have that discussion one day, Pierce. We'll definitely have that discussion one day. Somebody said Emily's a little cocky. I don't think Emily's cocky. Maybe every guy that wanted to be a friend, really was attracted to her, right? That's her experience. We can't say Emily is, cocky. Like we don't know Emily's life, right? That's the thing. Is it really friends if they jump at the chance of more? So it's only one person keeping it, right? And that's the thing that I've seen a lot of times where, you know, where one person likes the other person and the other person has no idea the other person's attracted to them, and that's not balanced, right? It's not balanced at all. And ooh, Jessica. So first of all, I want to say once again, thank you for being uh, vulnerable here. But I think this is where, ooh, this is a tough one. This is a really tough one, right? Because we know that the sometimes the male ego is, you know, something delicate that you have to try and deal with. I think if you are honestly, I would. This is where sometimes if it's hard to say to your person, like getting professional help and talking this out with like talking this through with the help of a counselor could be very helpful, right? And then you might chalk this up and say, oh, maybe it was just an intrusive thought or whatever the case may be. But if you have this type of openness in your relationship, uh, that could be like another level of intimacy, right? But this is a very difficult thing to talk about, right? Very difficult thing to talk about. Yeah, my phone is blowing up today. Um, Let me see. Uh, get some more of these comments. I love how it's not balanced when one doesn't know that. Right, right, right. Because one person's like, "Oh, this is my best friend," and the other person's like, as soon as that person gets out of that relationship, I'm taking them to Puerto Rico, right? So it's gotta talk about it. AC, it's my cousin. What's up? Oh, this is my cousin, so be super nice to her. I have wonderful male friends. It is definitely possible. Yeah, and I definitely think it's possible. But I think for friendships, there's many different types of friendships. So it's not like a easy yes, but like I've seen it, so I know it's possible. But like always with that, asterisk for that. Somebody's asking for my honest opinion as a male. Um, all right, Bridgie. I mean, for my honest opinion as a male, yeah, I think it can be possible. And look, but I didn't think it could be possible growing up, And I think like with the work that I do on social media, and by being an entrepreneur, you're working with all types of different individuals, men, women. Like I'm learning of people who uh, non-binary, So it's like with my work, I'm gonna run into a lot of attractive, ladies, and like if we're collaborating on a video or a music video or blah blah blah, or we're doing shooting a commercial or whatever, you know, if I'm in a relationship, that's going to be a boundary that I have to talk with my partner and say, oh, so and so is like, this is what's going on, or whatever the case may be. But I think it's possible, but it's for me, it's possible, but the friendships will be different. Like I said, my homeboy Greg, who just called me while we're on live, if he wants to come to my place here in LA, he can come through. If he comes at 1 a.m., I'm like, bro, you know, here's the code, so I can get in the house. Come on in, right? He can come whenever, But the example I gave, if my friend Scarlett Johansson, right, and I don't know her, but I'm just saying, if she wants to come over at 1 a.m. and I'm in a relationship and she just needs a place to crash, that's kind of suspicious, right? So I just want to say that. I just want to say that, right? Not that I'd be upset that she's coming over, right? But like if like you're in a relationship and like both of you all aware that it's like one-on-one monogamous here committed, then maybe she shouldn't come over at night, right? She shouldn't come over at night. And yeah, Crystal K is amazing. Yeah, it's a good friend of mine. I don't know where you go with that. Maybe that person was trying to be like, so that people ask questions or people say statements to kind of like ask a question to see what I would say. That's funny. I think it's kind of being pretty that people can't be respect. Emily, I respect that. We need more mental health attention for men. I can't tell when someone's attracted to me. I'm so blind. What's causing you to be attracted to your husband's friend? So once again, for that person who is attracted to the husband, I don't know what's going on with them, right? Who knows? But if they look, I think the husband would rather her admit it. You go to therapy, you act like, not like you act like it never happened, but like you push past it. Then as opposed to like the person not saying anything, you think on that thought for a long time before it becomes a reality. You make an action. So this is why communication is very helpful. So once again, communication, communication, right? Um, I, I don't know why she came to my mind first, but I think she's even married, right? So she throw out that example because she's a married woman, right? We don't, um, you know, married people, we don't talk about the relationships, but I don't know. I think she's married. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Let me see. Why would it be odd for when Rochelle, for me, like if somebody needs a place to crash, it's not odd for me, right? Like, hey, so and so is a friend of mine, crash over, right? That's fine. But what I'm saying is, if you're in a committed relationship, or if you all put yourself in this shoes, right? If you're in a committed relationship, and it's like, let's say it's just strictly monogamous for simplicity purposes, and a friend of the opposite sex comes over, and the reason why I use her is because I was really trying to find somebody who, I guess, like, there's a couple of people who we all kind of think that they're like universally praised, Scarlett Johansson, the Beyonces, whoever is like Doja Cat, or like, whoever is like really hot, and popular right now. I just tried to use one of those people because a lot of times what I've seen, right, at least in past experiences, right, you have therapist Kojo, and you have therapist Dr. Kojo, and you have Kojo, right? A lot of times in my past experience, I've seen if I'm friends with a lady, right, and I'm in a committed relationship, that her issue with my friendship with that person sometimes depends on how attractive that other girl is to my girlfriend, right? Does that make sense? So if it's somebody who my girlfriend's like, oh, she's okay, she's like, whatever, you can be friends with her. But if it's somebody who is like very attractive, sometimes it brings out the insecurity in the other person, right? The person you're dating. And this is a normal feeling, right? This is not anything to be ashamed about. Guys can feel this on the flip side too. So it's just a normal human emotion that you have to push through, right? Push it through. Yeah, you don't push up in compromising positions, right? You have to know. Yeah. You gotta be respect. You gotta be respectful, and also realistic too, right? And that's why what Steve Harvey saying that he cannot have female friends, I had no issue with it, right? I saw people tear him up and say, "Oh, no, lack of self control." I had no issue with it. I said, "The man's been in Hollywood for a while. He knows what he's talking about. He knows what boundaries look like for him, and for him, boundaries is not having an attractive female friend, right?" So I respect him, right? Like, I think he's married, right? I'm not sure. I think he's married, so that's a way of him keeping his marriage, long and healthy. So I respect that. I completely respect that. I've had men befriend me that were really interested in me romantically. When I caught on, I felt betrayed. My BFF of 10 years, a girlfriend broke up with him because she thought he was in love with me. It got weird and our friendship ended. Ah, Latrice, I'm sorry that this happened to you. But see, like, this is why we're having this discussion, because sometimes things will get weird and you might be dragged into a situation and like you didn't really do anything. Like, Latrice, it wasn't your fault. This is how the cookie crumbled, right? Um, Crystal is well. Oh no, I'm a big fan of Crystal. I'm a big fan of Crystal. Crystal is dope. Crystal is dope. Um, so Steve Harvey's married. Did I know that? What works for some relationships might not. I completely agree. Right, everyone's boundaries are different, right? And Beth said yes. If me and her together, she'll be right. Oh boy. And my best friend is a male, and we hang out 5 to 7 nights a week. Respect, and I can see this, and I can believe you. Like, I believe you, Jennifer. Like, I'm not like something special. No, I believe you. I actually believe you. Like, when you're like debating something, two sides can have a lot of truth to them, right? Like, LeBron James could be the best player of all time, and you can also make an argument for Michael Jordan. I mean, obviously, that's probably the first argument that you could go with, but Michael Jordan could be the greatest of all time. And then somebody can come and say LeBron's the greatest of all time. Then somebody come and say Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is the greatest player of all time who scored the most points. So, sometimes it's not as simple as, oh, this person is really, really right. That person is really, really wrong. Let me see. I tell all my male friendships that the romantic relationship should always trump our friendship. If she doesn't like me, I'm out. She comes first. Hey, see, this is why we're cousins, because we think I like this because this is a way of being as preemptive as possible and saying, hey, like I respect your relationship with your person, and I love our friendship, but I don't want you to get in trouble, right? And this makes sense to me. Not everybody might want to do this, right? But it makes sense to me because you don't want your friend to, you hang out with them and then they go home and they have to catch grief because their person is upset or their person or whatever their situation is, you know, somebody's upset with what's going on, right? I've had when I was married, my ex-wife had a male friend who needed one place to sleep, and I allowed as long as he could sleep on the couch. Right, right. So a lot of times it's like if everybody knows who the person is, like, and I'm not the type of person that I'm like, oh, go get an Airbnb. If you're my friend and you're in the area, I mean, pull up on me. I'm in LA, come through. But I'm talking about if there's a relationship involved and just respecting everybody. I've had a guy unfriend me in a relationship, uh, and it's like, so wait, this is different for you. Like you just watched the temptation, which I respect, but didn't realize that was the situation. Right. So yeah, if maybe that was his way of putting up a boundary, and maybe it would have been nice if he said something, but at least you can kind of see where maybe you kind of see where he's coming from, right? And I saw um, and I think I should do like a relationship Q&A and just ask some questions because these are some really interesting questions in here. Uh, let me see. I wish everyone was that right. Not everybody is right, but sometimes people are unintentionally disrespectful, and sometimes people disrespect you, and they meant every bit of that, right? So, but disrespect is disrespect, right? I have a friend for 6 years now. I just cut ties from my ex boyfriend, and now he started drooling over me. It made me creep you out, and I feel stuck. What should I do? Well, I mean, if you're creeped out, then it's not something that like you're inviting, right? So I would first figure out how you feel about the situation, and then figure out the simplest way to say that to the other person, right? To liberate you of having to carry that weight on your shoulder. Um, yeah, so that's what I would say. What I believe is possible to have friends of the opposite sex and not be sexually attracted to them, and do have these male friends. My husband does not believe it is possible for women. Hmm. He has female friends whom he is not attracted to, but also believes that I am attracted to any man I have a conversation with. It is stressful in a relationship, and we've had many different conversations about this. So this, you know, sometimes the answer comes back around to like, sitting down with your person, even with the help of a third party, like a mental health professional, or maybe just kind of talking things out, and just because y'all keep in mind we're all on the same team here, right? You all want the same thing to happen, but with insecurities and maybe past events or how things have been, maybe in their, maybe their trauma, something happened and they were cheated on. Like we just never know. So it's important to keep some of those things in mind as you navigate through, um, the relationship issues. Um, let me see. I don't hang out with. Uh, Once again, somebody brought this up earlier, and this is a very easy boundary. Don't hang out with male friends alone. It's super simple. Or if you're in a committed relationship and like that's how like if that's what you all agreed to, um, then yeah, I think men and women can be friends. Respect. What about coworkers? Ooh, Mickey Ficky. We didn't get talk about coworkers yet. If you know someone finds you attractive, how do you have a good time joking, camaraderie without them taking it the wrong way? Oh, okay. So this is a good question right here. And I've been in situations where I felt like I was at work and somebody liked me or whatever. And I never really had any issues. Like for the most part, like I mean, I can be cool, but like don't like be touching up on me, or whatever the case may be. But at least for me, like I mean, sometimes like I'm a jokester, so like I can find like a nice way to like maybe speak up and and put down my boundary by putting it within the joke, and be like, hey, whatever, and then kind of getting that person to be like, hey, like, I don't want, like we're just cool, like we're just coworkers. Sometimes it can be really tough, right? Because you don't want to go to work and it is weird, right? So I mean, you know the person, right, as well as you know them. So maybe finding a nice way to bring up that conversation without like, them being all upset. And Leilani, it is time for the water break. It is a time for the water break. Um, you say, can you believe that person dated someone at work? Hey, a lot of people meet their person at work. A lot of people meet their person at work. In the meantime, you all get your water ready. It's almost time for that water break. But a lot of people meet the person at work, right? So I'm not knocking, you know, uh, in meetings. Keep in mind, you can't meet people where like you hang out a lot. If you go to church a lot, you meet somebody who's in the choir. You go to brunch a lot. Every Sunday you might meet somebody out there. You go to school, work. You meet somebody out there, right? If you spend a lot of time on Hinge and Bumble, you meet somebody there. It makes sense. All right, so I need somebody to drop in that magic word so we can do that water break. Drop in that magic. Oh, Leilani already. Uh, drop it in. It's time. It's time. Cheers, y'all. Cheers. Kirsten, I'm happy you're finally catching that live. What's up? What's up? Um, it's safer to always cover your butt never alone. Prevents rumors. Well, I mean, look, I've worked at a hospital before, right? You know the type of rumors that go on in the hospital. So, I I I mean, rumors never bother me because I'm like, whatever. Like I got nothing to worry about. You know. Cheers. Um, Michelle, what's the special news? Let us know it. What's the smoke beside me? Look, it's one of those little thingies. Like my house is not like burning up, y'all. Just will let y'all know that. Don't want y'all to be concerned. Everything is good here in LA. I know we have fires here sometimes, but everything is good right now. Everything is good right now. Hospital rumors are now worse. I don't watch Grey's Anatomy, and every hospital that I worked at, there were always rumors, right? But a lot of times, like they don't pay me to the gossip, and they don't pay me to like spread rumors. But if they paid me to like keep up with rumors, then you would see me be like, I wonder who's sleeping with who. But they don't pay me to do that, so it's not my business. Not my business. Hey, Michelle, congratulations! That's a great feeling. Cardinals are cap. That's a great feeling. Let them talk. I agree, Beth. Let them talk. I moved to a different state, so all my friends and relationships came from work. Yeah, and look, there's nothing wrong with that, right? But I do think if you date a coworker at some point, you may have to switch units or something like that. Catherine says, you missed my point. I would joke and make there's not everything if some right. Okay, Catherine, I do agree with that. Let's see. I'm happy. Uh, but Michelle, congrats. That's a good feeling. Like paying off a car is a great feeling. Congrats. I said congrats. I don't watch Grey's Anatomy, y'all, so I don't know how that show works. I don't know how that show works. Let me take Rachel's question right here. I generally would like to know why would you choose to be in a relationship with someone who is so insecure they tell you not to hang out with your opposite sex friends? So Rochelle, like if it was that easy, then like people then nobody we wouldn't be having this issue, right? People would be like, oh, you're insecure, I can't hang out with my friends of the opposite sex. Cool. Then we're not dating, right? But sometimes you meet people and you fall for them, you like them, and a solid person is hard to come by, so you don't really throw away somebody like that. But this is where you have that conversation. You say, hey, this is my friend, blah, 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 this is what's going on. And then maybe they can explain their situation and say, oh, hey, my last relationship, I was cheated on somebody who said that, don't worry about this guy. That was just my cousin or whatever. And then they ended up in a relationship, right? So you have to take into account people's trauma and like what's going on. But a simple conversation, like one of those good conversations, like when you're like in the car, you pull up to the driveway, you're in the car and you're on the phone for like 45 minutes. One of those deep conversations can like clear all of this, right? You know what I'm talking about. One of those deep conversations, or maybe like when you're caking and you're on the phone and like your legs are like up in the air and then like you have your arm on like the kitchen counter and like and you're on the phone and you're laughing or you're on Bluetooth. One of those conversations can just kind of like take care of all of this, right? Take care of all of this. Horrible at drinking water. Well, make sure you watch my lives and then do the water break. But if you carry water around you, like, at some point you're going to just carry a water bottle around you. At some point you're going to look at it and be like, I should probably drink it so that way I don't have to keep carrying this thing around. But yeah. How about time? I actually will have a live about this shortly, Melissa. But pretty much for me, I don't do things that I don't want to do. Like if I don't want to do something, I'm just not going to do it. Because now my time, like my free time, is like evaporating with all the different things that I'm doing. So if I don't want to do something, I tell people I don't want to do it. That's the biggest thing that has helped me. No, the word no has helped me out a lot. I just say no. I used to say, oh, email my assistant in like 4 months. Let's start. The answer is no, because in 4 months I'm going to feel the same way. So I don't want to do that to you or me. Like, hey, like if I have a little bit of interest in it, if I'm interested but I'm busy, I'll put it off. But if I have no interest, I'm like, no, I just don't want to do this for whatever reason. I don't want to do this. No, I don't want to do it. And no, so the police sentence and full stop. That's it, right there and then I'm done. Right. So hopefully that's helpful for you. Um, uh, you're currently that's a trick question right there. That's a trick question. What relationship? Catherine, you're the best. We would be friends in real life. I like you, Catherine. Did your current relationship? Oh boy. And let me see. Yeah, I like what Leilani says. Be kind to everybody in the comments. Here Republicans and Democrats are kissing in the comments. Everybody's friendly to each other. So, I love that. I love that. Oh, Catherine is super cool. Wait. Oh yeah, for sure, Kevin, for sure. You definitely have to take time for yourself. I think about that all the time. I'll be it just looks like I don't take time for myself. It looks like it because I think one having an assistant who can like put everything everywhere, so it looks like I'm posting everywhere like 24 hour a day. But no, like I actually do fun things, around the city. I'm going to Coachella this weekend. Coachella, however you say it. My sister's having a birthday this weekend, so she's coming into town. I got her a gift. We're going to Coachella, so yeah, I do have fun. But maybe I don't post the fun part. Maybe I'll just see the mental health part, And sometimes I'm like, do y'all want to see me like? And literally, I will like. Let's say I post videos of going to Coachella, right? I could be, I don't know, I could be in the crowd like dancing to Lil Baby or Billie Eilish or whoever's the headliner. I could be there dancing, having a good time, and somebody will still comment, uh, what's worse, bipolar 1 or 2, right? So like, do y'all want to see me having a good time, right? But I do have fun times. I just don't post them a lot. It's funny because before this platform, like I used to use Instagram for like family members and friends. Same thing with like Facebook, right? And then you post like your small accomplishments or what would happen, and then your friends and coworkers and family will clap for you. And then it's interesting to see what your online community is interested in. I find that to be very fascinating because you have Dr. Kojo and you have Kojo, right? Same person, but the world views them very differently. I see dance moves on TikTok. You have to tell me twice. It's true. You don't have to tell me twice. It's gonna be a good weekend. I'm excited for it. Thank you so much. Yeah, my sister is getting a little older now, so I'm excited for that. I'm very excited. The smoke. Ah, y'all are funny. Y'all are funny. uh, shout out to Blaine. Shout out to Blaine. That's family. That's family right there. Taught me the word no has helped. Yeah, like no. If there's one word that I would want people to put in the vocabulary for this year, it's no. Like that word has changed my life too. Because then I have time to do things that I want to do. It's a game changer. Game changer. I like to think you're single. I like to keep people guessing. Oh my god, this is funny. Let me see. I think there's one thing that I wanted to get here. Read the list thing before I bounce out. Is according to the level of friendship. If you're a real close friend, then I consider you family, and I don't get sexual family. Respect, Melissa. But outside of that realm, being a friend with the opposite sex, I don't think they can. That's my opinion. And Melissa, I respect that. We've had opinions on both sides, and the main takeaway point is that you do what you have to do for your family, for your relationship, for your for your peace of mind, right? But it does come down to boundaries and knowing yourself too, right? When you know yourself and you know that you're strong in a certain area, you put yourself in those situations. If you're working on a certain area or there's room for improvement, let's chill out for a little bit because we don't want to set ourselves up for the okie doke. I'm having too much fun here. Maria swears she me. This is so fun. Oh my gosh. Oh boy. This is super cool. Uh, Jared, have you tried this like bubbly water? Yeah, the morning and night lives. I don't know if we're gonna do the morning. I don't know how long we'll do the morning lives, but the night lives are consistent. But I do like the morning lives, and I want to play around with that more. I have to keep going live in the morning before I commit to that. But I've committed to this, right? So my word is my word, Monday through Thursday, and ironically, the Coachella event happens on Friday through Sunday. So I like the little 3 day weekend thing because now I can go, and rap word for word to Lil Baby. But yeah, so I'm about to I'm about to bounce out, get back some of these phone calls. So I'm about to bounce out, but this is gonna be a great week for us, right? It's gonna be a fantastic week. It's Monday. We have 3 more shows coming up. We have some more shows coming up in the morning as well. So let's stay happy, let's stay healthy, let's keep pushing, let's keep grinding. And just remember you already won. So I'm excited for this week. And yeah, let's get it. Peace. Take care. See y'all tomorrow. Same time, 6 p.m. California, now on the East Coast.